potter's field, in a field of blood, in empty, acrid silence. There was no funeral, there were no mourners. His friends all absent, his father dead, his sisters refusing to attend. I discovered his body alone. I buried his grave alone. I placed him in a hole and covered him with dirt and rock alone. I was not able to finish burying him before sundown, and I'm not sure if that affected his fate. I begrudge God none of this. I do not curse him or bemoan my lot. And though my heart keeps beating only to keep breaking, I do not question why. I remember the morning my son was born as if it were yesterday. The moment the midwife placed him in my arms, I was infused with a love beyond all measure and understanding. I remember holding him and looking over at my own mother and saying, now I understand why the sun comes up at day and stars come out at night. I understand why rain falls gently. Now I understand. I loved my son every day of his life, and I will continue to love him ferociously long after I've stopped breathing. I am a simple woman. I am not bright or learned. I do not read, I do not write. My opinions are unsolicited. My voice is not important. On the day of my son's birth, I was infused with a love beyond all measure and understanding. The world tells me that God is in heaven, and that my son is in hell. I tell the world the one true thing I know. That if my son is in hell, there is no heaven. Because if my son sits in hell, there is no God.
Between heaven and hell, there is another place. This place. Hope. Hope is located right over here in downtown Purgatory.
Next case!
Now, Purgatory, contrary to popular belief, has plumbing and bodegas, and they even got a little movie theater and a park where people can walk their dogs at. Hope, well, it ain't got none of that, and it definitely doesn't smell good.
Next case, Bailiff!
I worked here in Hope for 2.5 years. That's how I got these wings. And I wouldn't trade nothing for these wings. I can fly with these wings. At night, I fly down to earth and watch my littlest baby boy sleep. He's 7, and he's got a picture of me in his wall right in between Shaquille O'Neal and the Incredible Hulk. Then I go fly uptown to the window of my oldest baby girl's house and watch my grandchild, little Bit, sleep. Most nights I can see my oldest baby girl, Tanya, with her feet in a pot of hot water, always studying books. I stick around to see her man Winston come home late at night, always with a burger or a muffin for my baby girl. Winston's love for my baby girl is all over his face. I was wrong about him. I always thought he was shifty. When I get back to heaven, I tell my husband Delane all about it. Delane doesn't like to fly, but he likes to hear the stories. And he likes how I look when I come home from Earth all windblown. Now, hope. It changes with the times, but it has stood always as God's gift to the last of his children. It is said that every civilization rearranges the cosmic furniture differently. In biblical times, hope was an oasis in the desert. In medieval days, a shack free of plague. Today, hope is no longer a place for contemplation, litigation being the preferred new order of the day.
Where's my damn bailiff?
Here, sir.
Then call the next damn case.
Yes, sir. God in the kingdom of heaven and earth versus foreseen the implaceable. Motion to appeal.
Motion denied. Next case.
God in the kingdom of heaven and earth versus Henry Wayne Masters.
Nope.
God in the kingdom of heaven and earth versus Benedict Arnold.
Ah, hell no.
God in the kingdom of heaven and earth versus Judas Iscariot.
Judas Iscariot. Who brings this crap before me?
Your Honor, my name is Fabiana Aziza Cunningham.
Never heard of him.
I'm in purgatory.
Well, you should have kept your legs closed. Motion denied. Next case.
Your Honor, I have a writ signed by St.
Next
Peter,
case.
but I have a writ.
She has a writ, sir.
Excuse me?
The lady, she's got a writ, so I mean...
Bailiff, let's set up a little signal between the two of us, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Good. Now, when I come into court dressed as Ethel Merman in a one-piece bathing suit, that'll be my signal to you that I want your opinion. Next case.
Look, what about the writ, sir?
What's your name, bailiff?
Julius of Outer Mongolia.
You're on work release from purgatory, correct, Julius?
Yes, sir.
You want to get to heaven one day?
Very much, sir.
Eat fried chicken and mashed potatoes, feel the sun on your face?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Then call the next damn case!
Yes, sir.
Good. Have a lollipop. Next case.
Thank you, sir.
Next case.
The writ, sir.
Bailiff.
Your Honor, if I may.
Okay.
Who speaks before me?
It is I, Yusuf Akbar Aziz Al-Nassar Gamal El-Fayoumy.
Who the hell are you?
An attorney, great sir, willing and able to prosecute this sham of a case and defend the gates of heaven from this big shenanigan of a so-called writ. Your Honor, look no further. Yusuf Akbar Aziz Al-Nassar Gamal El-Fayoumy is a beacon of justice.
A beacon.
May I approach you?
The bench, not me.
Yes, and it is a lovely bench, so splendid and sturdy, like the great derriere that rests upon it, huh? Anyway, Your Honor, I heard about this writ several weeks ago, and I have been preparing night and day to refute the allegations it contains.
Your Honor, let the record reflect.
Speak when spoken to!
Do not beg this great man, lady! He presided over the appeal of Attila the Hun when you were nothing more than a cheap shot of whiskey on your great-great-grandfather's unpaid bar tab!
Well said.
Give the outburst.
You got a license to practice, Mr. El-Fayoumy?
A license, yeah, of course, submitted for your scrupulously discerning approval, eminently great sir.
Your name's El-Fayoumy, sir.
Just give me my glasses.
We're wearing them, sir.
Ah, my other glasses!
Most worshipful Lord and Master, there is a tiny problem. I seem to have left my license in my other suit, so I can just rush back to hell and retrieve it.
From hell you are.
Oh, temporarily detained. There was a little problem with my papers.
You sure about that?
Oh, quite sure, Your Grace. I attribute the mix-up to the great Americanization of the afterlife.
You're
Perfectly understandable in lieu of recent events.
You're damn right.
Yes, great sir, as are you. Yes.
Cunningham, let me see this writ.
Here, Your Honor.
You have great legs, Fabiana. Free for dinner, perhaps?
Cunningham, this writ is garbage. Motion denied. Next case.
Your Honor.
Next case.
That petition is signed by St. Peter at the gates of heaven.
I know Peter, and he's rash, believe me, and he's prone to error.
Rash, absolutely. A little place called Garden of Gethsemane. Ring a bell, Fabiana?
Next case.
When the authorities came to arrest Jesus after your client sold him out with a kiss, what did Peter do?
I know what.
Oh, well, know it again. He took out his sword and began chopping off the ears of the authorities. Can you imagine that? It was a big mess, really. Jesus had to correct it, put all the ears back on.
Next case.
But, Your Honor.
Next case.
Come, Fabiana, dinner and a sensual massage. It will soothe you.
Your Honor, I cite Beatitudes in Kierkegaard. I cite Christ on the cross.
I cite my foot in your ass, Cunningham.
I cite Hegel. Within every idea, thesis is contained its contradiction, antithesis. And out of that struggle is created synthesis. Synthesis, Your Honor, the union and interdependence of opposites producing what must be revealed. God's perfect love versus God's rightful justice equals what, Your Honor?
Out of my courtroom.
The union of love and justice can produce only mercy and forgiveness. If a just God falls in heaven, it can fall no other way.
Next case.
But, Your Honor...
Next case, next case, next case. Crazy Mick bitch.
All right now, people. Cue them trumpets and the dancing camels.
Hey y'all, welcome to my world. Now, this is the part of the story where if it weren't for me, there wouldn't be no parts to the fucking story, okay? My name is Monica, or better known to you mere mortals as Saint Monica. Yeah, that's right, Saint. As in better not get up in my grill cause I mess your shit up cause I'm a saint, and I got mad saintly connects, okay? You know, driving up the Santa Monica Boulevard. You ever ate sushi down the Santa Monica Pier? Well, that's my boulevard and that's my pier, and that's all I got to say about that. Word to the wise. Word is most definitely B-O-N-D, bond. Yeah, that's right, bond. Cool. Anyways, up in heaven, a lot of people don't like to hang out with me because they say I'm an ag. It's true. And you know what I got to say about that? I say fuck them bitches because I am an ag. And if I hadn't been an ag, I would have never made it to be no saint. And the church would have never had no father of the church named St. Augustine. Because I birthed the motherfucker. And when he started acting up like all the time and constantly, I nagged God's ass to save him. I nagged and nagged and nagged until God got so tired of my shit that he did save my son. And my son, St. Augustine, well, he quit banging whores and sipping on wine and he became learned. So fucking learned that he's known as one of the fathers of the church. And you can look that shit up. Go ahead, I'll wait. Yeah, that's right. Father up in this bitch. Father. Oh, the church got a plaque and everything. So if I hadn't been an ag, all y'all would have been a bastard church. Sip on that, bitches. Anyway, as a result of my having God's ear, a lot of motherfuckers pray to me. I got 3 full-time assistants just to shift through it all. To make a long story short, I was asked to look into the case of Judas Iscariot by some Irish gypsy lawyer bitch in purgatory named Cunningham. She wanted me to nag on Judas's behalf, and quite frankly, I was impressed by her nagging abilities. That bitch nagged me day and night for 40 days. But I don't nag for just anybody. And I definitely don't nag for no motherfucker I don't know, so I went to go check out Judas for my own self. He looked fucking crazy. He didn't talk or nothing. He didn't seem to hear me, and I'm not somebody who has a problem expressing myself. I figured he was faking, so I did this. Yo, Judas. Yo, you that motherfucker? Hey, yo, Judas. Yo, then I started smacking the bitch around just a little bit. Yo, hella yella. Come on, don't front. Then I started spazzing on his ass. Hey, yo, Judas, you got change for 30 pieces of silver, motherfucker? Ha, hey, yo, Judas, how much you pay for that haircut? 30 pieces of silver. Hey, yo, Judas, why you so hung up? Come on, let's hang out. Judas, what do you say you and me go down to the bar and betray some motherfuckers out? I know you like betraying. What's the matter? You ain't in the mood to betray today. You hungry? You want some supper? Come on, one last supper. Come on, what do you say? I couldn't do it. I mean, so I just sat next to him. I sat with Judas Iscariot for 3 days. And on the night of the 3rd day, something happened. While I was resting my vocal cords, I saw something unexpected. I saw a single tear fall out of Judas's eye. And when it hit the ground, it was red like a ruby. I looked into his eyes like this. He couldn't look at me, or he looked through me. I couldn't tell. He was like a former human being, and I detected sadness in him. Paralyzing, immobilizing sadness. His sadness ran through him like a river that had dried up and died, and nobody lived there no more. After a while, I just thought I'd hold him in my arms for a little bit and warm him up before I left. I held Judas Iscariot in my arms for 4 days. And on the 3rd day, I remember how God had said that Jesus has the biggest love for the least of his creatures. And Judas was the leastest creature I had ever seen. And on the 4th day, he dropped another single tear. It was clear colored this time, and it evaporated into the earth on impact. He trembled and then froze up again. I had seen enough. I took off my outer garments and left them there so he could smell something human. I collected my tears in a bucket and poured it on his face so he could taste the salt. And then I got on the horn to God, y'all. I died direct. Some people call it being a nag. I call it doing my job. I got a calling, y'all, and you should give me a call if you ever need it. Because my name is St. Monica, and I'm the mother of St. Augustine, one of the fathers of the church. And you know what? My ass gets results. Period.
Next case.
God is in the kingdom of heaven and earth versus Judas Iscariot.
Bailiff!
She got a writ signed by God, sir.
Signed, delivered, motherfucker. Peace.
Here's the writ, Your Honor. Note the signature at the bottom.
Bailiff! Bailiff, where's El-Fayoumy?
Present and accounted for, great sir, and ready to defend with marvelous cunning relish and great relish this great kingdom of heaven and earth and your great sirness, you marvelous, eminently great and rakishly handsome, great sir, you.
Cunningham, I do not like it when lawyers go over my head.
You gave me no choice.
Objection, Your Honor. As humans, we always have choice. Motion to strike.
Mr. El-Fayoumy, you are aware that the trial hasn't begun yet, correct?
Yeah, of course. I was just, merely,
Fabiana Aziza Cunningham. That right?
It is.
So where are the red hair and freckles from, Cunningham?
My mother was a Romanian gypsy who settled in Vinegar Hill in Harlem in the 1960s.
And your father?
A local parish priest.
Got more than his palm read, did he? All right. I think it only fair at this juncture to tell you a few things about myself. Some things that may inspire you to take your little mission elsewhere. For example, I strongly dislike tapioca pudding.
Tapioca, the worst!
Sit down! Even more than tapioca, Cunningham, I dislike the following. Defense attorneys as a rule, half-breeds in general, and Judas Iscariot as anything more than a cautionary tale. Now, is that a problem for you?
No,
You ever met God, Cunningham?
I don't know that I believe in God.
You just handed me a writ signed by you. You don't know if you believe?
Correct.
Well, what if God were to appear to you, Cunningham? Just one day, boom, God. White beard, flowing robes, the whole rack of lamb.
Your Honor.
And what if, when you go home tonight, Jesus Christ himself appeared at your door with a dozen Krispy Kremes and a cold quart of milk and said, Cunningham, Fabiana, it's me. I really am that one thing you've always feared more than doubted, what would you do then?
Your Honor.
And what if you let him in and sat down with the man for, say, 3 minutes? You could touch him and inspect him and interrogate him all you want and have him perform miracles and tell you your exact life story. And you ended up convinced, wiping away tears of joy and relief on your own living room couch. If he proved it to you, would you believe then?
If he proved it, I suppose I'd have to.
After only 3 minutes.
But that would never happen.
Cunningham, you're the faithless, cynical spawn of a crackpot gypsy and a defrocked old Mick, and yet you just told me that Jesus Christ would have you on your knees in 3 minutes. So consider this. Your friend, Judas Iscariot, he had Jesus for 3 years. Think about that. 3 years in the foxhole with the best friend he ever had, then he turned around and shot him in the back for a pack of cools. Think what that says about the essential character of the man. Now go home and stir that into your wee gypsy teapot. Petition's invalid, motion denied, next case.
Your genius. Oh, I am erect.
Next case.
Your Honor, that petition is signed by you.
Yeah, but it ain't signed by your client now, is it?
My client is catatonic. He's incapable of signing.
If he's catatonic, then how do you know he wants an appeal in the first place?
Who wouldn't want to appeal eternal damnation?
Someone who is aware of his own self-inflicted erosion of the capacity to be filled by grace. Someone too prideful to ask for forgiveness, even in the fiery face of the furnace. Or maybe he don't ask because he knows he don't deserve it.
Your Honor, the only person who needs to ask for forgiveness is the one who doesn't deserve it.
Then let him ask.
I'm asking for him.
Out of my courtroom, sister. And may God have mercy on your blasted arrogant soul. Now get thee uptown, woman. Stop your rabble-rousing and get humble, because you ain't going to get to heaven trying to dismantle the natural order of the things the good Lord so thoughtfully put together now.
Your Honor, are you a citizen of heaven?
Bailiff, remove this woman.
You live here with us. You know no more about God's law than anyone else here.
My papers are pending. I'll be up there any minute now.
Your papers have been pending since 1864, Your Honor. That's 140 years.
If there's an insinuation at the end of that statement, Cunningham, I suggest you don't make it.
Not an insinuation, Your Honor, but a question. If the truth really does set us free, then what is it, Your Honor, that is progressively precluding your capacity to respond to the call of that truth? Because 140 years suggests to me that you are moving not closer, but farther and farther away from it every day.
What the hell does Judas Iscariot have to do with my truth? I didn't hang myself from some olive branch.
Not from an olive branch, but on a battlefield in northern Georgia in 1864. Allatoona. And the tree? Oak, I believe. Your Honor, I have to wonder what your honest answer will be when you are someday asked how different you are now from that day when you died.
Tomorrow, 9 a.m. Does that work for you?
It does.
Put it in the docket.
Docket.
Just write it down. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Next fucking case.
Fear not, your grace. I shall slay this fallen woman like the crocodile slays the one-legged newt.
Next case, next case, next case.
Not a lot is known about Judas Iscariot. Oh, this is my fellow jury member, Loretta. On Earth, she is currently on life support.
Hi.
Oh. Have they figured out whether you're coming or going yet?
Not really. Any day now, they say.
Say, Loretta, you smoke cigarettes?
Well, not unconscious on a respirator.
Yeah, but you got one for me.
Maybe in my
Oh shit, Newports? Oh honey, you are my girl, you got a light?
It's a NASCAR light.
So anyways, about Judas. Not a lot is known other than he was chosen to be a disciple, betrayed Jesus, and then hung himself. Not a lot to go on, especially since we're meant to rely on facts.
You know,
had an uncle. Can I say this? When I was a little girl, my drunk Uncle Pino, he used to like to go around.
No! I believe, because it is absurd, it is certain, because it is impossible.
What?
So what did he mean by that? No clue. But I think.
Ladies, we're back.
Oh shit! Wait.
Oh.
Now, that's Butch Honeywell. And unlike Loretta here, he's definitely dead. And also unlike Loretta, he's got no real interest in finding that out. So Butch, did we miss anything in there?
Oh, just some crap about the essential paradox of man, how we refuse to juxtapose the absolute to the relative, and some such about paradox as an ontological definition, which expresses the relation between an existing cognitive spirit and eternal truth. You know, bullshit. Listen, they passed up the lunch menus. I got you guys the combo club with fritters.
Awesome, thanks, Butch.
Right this way, ladies.
Next witness!
Your Holiness, prosecution calls to the stand Henrietta Iscariot, mother to Judas Iscariot.
State your name, ma'am.
Henrietta Iscariot.
Yes. Hello, Miss Iscariot. Good day.
Good day.
Yes. I can't help but notice that you are a very well-built woman. Might it be fair to say that your cup runneth over?
All the Iscariots are buxom, if that's what you mean.
My meaning exactly. Now then, Miss Iscariot, can you recall that if as an infant, Judas Iscariot was prone to steal more than his fair share of milk from your deliciously well-apportioned bosom? Oh.
I can't recall that, no.
Huh, very well then. But can you recall this? I take you back to the year 8. You were a single mother raising Judas Iscariot was your eldest and man of the family. You sent him out fishing to get food for you and his poor, starving sisters. What happened next?
Do I have to answer?
Just tell the truth, ma'am.
Well, Judas didn't come home till very late. I waited by the fire. I was worried he was only 8. I was concerned that the Romans had maybe detained him for shoplifting.
A shoplifter! So please the court!
Hi, Mommy.
Judas, I was so worried.
Look what I got, Mommy. A spinning top.
Judas, did you catch any fish? Your sisters are weeping with hunger.
Weeping, Your Honor, weeping and wailing.
I caught 5 fish today, Mommy.
But where are they?
I sold them to the market, and I got this spinning top. Look how it spins.
Judas Iscariot, I am ashamed of you.
But, Mommy...
Selfish boy, you will come to no good!
Selfish boy, you will come to no good! Was that your statement at the time?
He was only 8!
8 and too late! Nothing further.
Ross?
No thank you.
I wasn't asking you.
Miss Iscariot, what happened the next day?
Well, he ran away from home that night. I searched for him all day. Late in the afternoon, I observed the following.
Hi. My name's Judas. What's your name?
Matthias of Galilee.
I got an idea. Why don't you go home and get your spinning top? And then, when you come back with your spinning top, we can play Battle of the Spinning Tops.
Oh, I don't got a spinning top.
Oh.
Yeah, I wish I got one. All my friends got one except me.
Yeah, that's rough. I used to not have one too.
All the kids, they call me sissy pants because I can't get no spinning top.
You should go ask your mommy to get you one.
Oh, I don't got a mommy.
Ask your daddy then.
I got a daddy, but he's very stern. He don't believe in spinning tops, so I can't ever get one.
Wow.
You probably think I'm a sissy pants too.
Please, don't cry, man.
Very hard to get through life without a spinning top.
You want to try mine?
For real?
Here.
Wow! Nobody in Galilee's got a spinning top like this. This is a wicked cool spinning top, Judas.
I picked it up myself.
Boy, oh boy, your father must really love you to buy you such a most definitely dope spinning top.
My father's dead.
What?
The Romans killed him.
Yeah, the Romans, they took all our goats last month, and now we don't have no money for nothing, even food. And so my father makes me go to the butcher and ask for bones for my dog, but I don't have a dog. And the butcher knows that I don't have a dog, but he gives me the bones because he takes pity on me. And then I give the bones to my father, and he makes a soup with the bones, and then we eat it, and it tastes really bad. And then my grandmom says my father's, well, he's all messed up because the Romans took all our goats last month, and that's why everything's messed up, and that's why I can't get no spinning top. Uh-oh.
What?
I better go home now. I gotta be home before 6. My father's very stern.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for letting me play with your spinning top, Judas. Maybe someday my dad will get some more goats, and then I'll get a spinning top, and I'll come back, and we can play spinning tops and stuff, because that was fun.
The sad voice started to leave, and then...
Wait. Here. You can have it.
I can have your spinning top?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
Wowie zowie dad! Thank you, Judas.
Whenever people ask who my son was, I tell them that story.
Thank you, Miss Iscariot. The witness is excused.
Not so fast. Miss Iscariot, the Roman authorities came to pick up your son the very next day on a charge of stealing a blind man's staff. A blind man's staff which he then pawned to Omar the baker to purchase, it says here, cotton candy and a royal blue spinning top. Is that correct, Miss Iscariot? Correct, Miss Iscariot? Is that correct, Miss Iscariot?
I don't know. It was so long ago.
Speak into the microphone!
There is no microphone.
Yes! That is correct. Your Honor, prosecution has reason to believe that the staff-deprived blind man in question was later run over by a rabid Judean camel. Here is his death certificate, nothing further.
Next witness.
Yes! Your Holiness, prosecution calls the uncomparable Mother Theresa to the stand.
Name?
Did you say something?
Name.
What?
Your name, please, ma'am.
Oh, yes. 10:45, okay?
Theresa, yes, hello, over here.
Who's that?
It's me, Mother. Remember me?
Oh, Jess, handsome boy, hello.
Hi, yes, Mother. How are you?
Speak louder, boy.
I said, how are you?
What?
I said, how are you?
Judge, bailiff, I believe we do have a hearing device for Mother Theresa.
Get the device.
I believe you have the device,
What?
sir. Here, put these on.
What?
Thank you, little man.
Yes, Mother. Hello, can you hear me now? How about now?
Tiff? You are tricking me, no boy.
Yes, I am tricking.
Bad boy.
Very bad, a scandal, I know.
Prosecution is through flirting with the beatified iconic virgin.
El-Fayoumy, contact has been established.
Yes.
Can we proceed?
Yes, I'm sorry. Forgive me the delay. I was simply enamored to be in the presence of such grace. I love Mother Theresa, really great one. In Christian Egypt, she is a great star. I remember as a young boy, I used to don a towel in my mother's nightgown and stalk the back streets of Cairo looking for dying things to comfort and salve. Yes. Mother, I love you, really. You are the oasis. You are the light.
Do we need to take a moment here, counselor?
Oh, yes. Perhaps we do. I'm so sorry.
5-minute recess. Adjourned.
My name is Peter. They got a basilica named after me in Rome. Which is ironic because back in the day, if you even said the word Rome in my presence, more than likely I'd beat you with my stick. I even had a standing boat. I had a rule on my fishing boat that was strictly enforced. I mean, it was talking about Rome and your ass could swim home alone. I had to have those kind of rules laid down strong because my younger brother Drew and his friends, they like to waste their time talking about overthrowing Rome and the coming of Messiah instead of focusing on the task at hand. And I'd always be like, look, fellas, unless your Messiah gonna come down here right now and help us catch some fish, then y'all need to shut the heck up and put your undivided focus on these damn nets. And then one day, Drew didn't turn up for work, and he come running back at me at the shore at the end of the day when I'm bringing the boat back in talking about, this Jesus, bro, he's the Messiah. I ain't fishing no more. I'm just going to follow him. And this Jesus, who resembles a Messiah about as much as I resemble a ballerina in a tutu, strides up on me and says, catch any fish today? And I says, no, I did not catch any fish today. And he says, take the boat back out to the sea and you gonna catch some fish. So I took Jesus with me, intending to throw his ass overboard. But then he says, cast your nets wide and deep. And I did. And, well, look, all I can say is I'm a damn professional commercial fisherman. Nobody knew the sea in this times better than me. There were no fish out there. That's because they were all in my net. But then Jesus says, follow me and I'll make you a fisher of men. What I didn't know then was I'd never see the sea again.
My name is Matthew. I was a Jewish tax collector for the empire. My job was to take the food out of your mouth and have it shipped off to Rome. Roman exports were exorbitant and non-negotiable. If you had 6 geese, I took 3. If you had a flock of sheep, I took about 50%. If you had 1 sheep, I cut that sheep in half. And if you had no sheep, I took a child, your child, and had him, or her, sold into slavery to settle your debt to the emperor. Now, this is not a made-up story. This is fact. This is history. We were a conquered nation, and I was a traitor to my people. I was a traitor, a sinner. I was unclean, unfit to be gazed upon. That's who I was.
I hated your ass to look at.
And I looked at you, Peter, as a dumb, ignorant fisherman.
And I looked at you, Matthew, with something I can't say in mixed company.
I was a scumbag.
Do that.
I was a scumbag, and it was against the law to look at me. Jesus, he looked at me. That's all he did. He looked at me and he said, follow me. And before I knew it, I did. And before I knew it, we had broken bread that night. I was clean. I was clean.
El-Fayoumy, are we ready to proceed?
Absolutely, most eminently great sir. Forgive me the delay, Mother Theresa. I will not be taking much of your time here today, and you are certainly in no need of an introduction.
I don't mind.
Very well then. Mother, you are a soon-to-be canonized saint and a recipient of the Nobel Prize for Peace. You are from Albania, which tells me you know how to handle a firearm. But from the age of 12, you desired to serve God. And at the age of 18, you left for the convent. And then at 21, you went to the slums of Calcutta and soon after began ministering to the sick and dying, which you did with love and mercy and compassion for the rest of your life till the day you died, correct?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely, yes, Mother. Now, I have called you to the stand today for a very special purpose.
And what is that?
Yes, I am getting to that, Mother. Your life and subsequent canonization leads me to believe you know a thing or two about God and the life of the Spirit, correct?
I know what I know. What do you want to know?
Yes, yes. Mother, is there a hell?
I hope not, but I think so.
Right, and Judas Iscariot, he is in hell, yes?
We can never know for sure, but it don't look good.
Right, and we should feel sorry for people in hell, correct?
Very sorry, yes.
But does God feel sorry for people in hell?
More sorry than us, yes.
But, Mother, if he feels so bad, why doesn't he just bring the damned upstairs, 3 hots and a cot? Yes, surely God has that power.
Boy, God can lead us anywhere, but sometimes the people, they don't want to go, and if the people don't want to go, then what are you going to do?
Oh, but Mother, certainly these people do not prefer hell.
You'd be surprised. Do you know what despair is, boy?
Mother, enlighten me.
I will tell you what Thomas Merton said, who was a very handsome boy, like you. I will tell you what that boy had to say about despair. You may not know this, but I, at one time in my life, suffered a great spiritual darkness.
Oh no, Mother, not you!
Quiet now, boy! Yes. For many, many years, I experienced the terrible pain of loss, of God not wanting me, of God not being God, and of God not really existing. One day I confided my feelings to a friend, an Irish nun, one of the sisters of Loreto from Dublin, Ireland. My friend, Sister Glenna, she quoted to me Thomas Merton on the subject of despair. She said,
Despair is the ultimate development of a pride so great and so stiff-necked that it selects the absolute misery of damnation rather than accept happiness from the hands of God, and thereby acknowledge that He is above us and that we are not capable of fulfilling our destiny by ourselves.
do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Can you repeat it?
Yes, sure.
Despair is the ultimate development of a pride so great and so stiff-necked that it selects the absolute misery of damnation rather than accept happiness from the hands of God, and thereby acknowledge that He is above us and that we are not capable of fulfilling our destiny by ourselves.
Ah, yes, I think I see, Mother.
Judas, he succumbed to despair. The music of God's love kept playing, but he made himself hard of hearing. Like me, no? Without these earphones, I cannot hear you, Jeff. Judas, he threw his earphones away, and that is very sad, but that is what he chose, and that is what happened.
But, Mother, couldn't God just obtained a megaphone and simply shouted the instructions into Judas's ear?
Boy, one must participate in one's own salvation. In order to hear, one must be willing to listen. When you turn off God, you are saying, I know better than you. No good, boy, no good.
No good indeed. Mother, you are a ravishing delight, and I thank you for your excellent and astute testimony. Nothing further.
Cross?
Mother Theresa, upon receiving your Nobel Prize, did you say to the world, quote, "The biggest obstacle to global peace in the world today is abortion"?
Yes, I did.
Do you actually believe that?
Yes, I do.
You accepted large cash donations from the Duvalier family in Haiti, correct?
He gave, I took.
Blood money?
No, cashier's check.
You also took money from Charles Keating, the savings and loan scam artist who robbed American citizens of billions of dollars.
For the poor, I took. You got $5, I take from you too.
You opposed the Vatican II reforms, which, among other things, called for a long overdue official condemnation of anti-Semitism as it relates to the death of Christ. Did you oppose Vatican II, Mother Theresa?
Yes.
You blamed the wars of the world on abortion, took blood money from murderers and thieves, and opposed taking a stance against anti-Semitism. I'm having a hard time figuring out why we're supposed to consider you an expert on anything having to do with the spirit.
Oh, Jess?
Yes.
Well, then maybe you better figure it out.
I had 2 abortions, Mother Theresa. What do you think about that?
I will pray for you and your children.
I don't have any children.
Not anymore, and that's terrible.
Mother Theresa, if abortion is so terrible, then how come I'm not in hell?
I don't know. Did anybody tell you you weren't?
Must be nice to have all the answers.
Must be hard to only have questions.
I can live with my questions, Mother Theresa, but if you can live with those answers, then, with all due respect, I'd say your place is not in heaven with the saints, but with the rest of the dinosaurs living in the Stone Age. Nothing further.
Mother, I wonder if you join me in wondering, and who the hell defense counsel thinks she's talking to like that?
It's okay, boy. Everybody want to say something, nobody want to listen.
Yes, indeed. And on that very well-struck note, let us go back and address some of the outlandish
I
things
go now.
that... But I'm not finished.
I go now.
Oh, well, very well then, Mother. And I think that we should all emblazon in our memories.
Boy?
Yes, Mother.
Give this earphone device to girl. Maybe like this, she hears something, make her head no hurt no more.
There's nothing wrong with my head.
Stand down, Cunningham.
Nice boy. Handsome boy.
Defense calls Simon the Zealot to stand.
Name?
Simon the Zealot.
Simon, you were one of the 12 apostles, correct?
Yeah.
And you were a zealot?
Yeah.
Was Judas Iscariot a zealot?
Well, he didn't go to the meetings or nothing, but yeah, pretty much a zealot if you ask me.
Zealots being Jews seeking to end the violent oppression of the Roman occupation, correct?
Not exactly, no.
Are you saying the zealots were in favor of the Roman occupation?
Nah, not at all. We hated the Romans. Absolutely, we wanted their pagan asses to hit the curb running and bloody, but we were also opposed to any Gentiles in Palestine, Greek, Roman, whoever. What us zealots was really all about was promoting strict adherence of the Mosaic law.
Mosaic law being
the law of Moses. The Torah. That's the whole bag right there, miss. Get rid of the bad seeds and unite the people under the holy law of God. We were basically like the street version of Caiaphas the elder, except we had knives and shit, and we thought Caiaphas was soft.
Soft how?
With the Romans. Bit of a politician, you know?
And what was life like under Roman rule?
Where you from, miss?
New York.
Okay. Imagine New York was taken over by like devil-worshipping cannibals who spit on your laws, stole all your money, took your women and children for slaves, and put like giant swastikas on all your bridges, tunnels, libraries, and civic institutions. And anyone that complained about it got nailed, naked, to a piece of wood in Times Square, left to be eaten by rats and shit on by pigeons until the weight of their bodies asphyxiated them to death. That's what it was like.
And you thought Jesus was going to change that, didn't you?
We all did.
Change it how?
Throw them out. That's what the Messiah was supposed to do.
But he didn't do that, did he?
Nah.
And yet he was capable of it. You saw him perform miracles, raise people from the dead.
It was a bit of a conundrum, yeah.
Were you in the disturbance at the temple?
Yeah.
What did you think about that?
You kidding? I loved it. Judas too. We all did. We thought it was on, you know?
On meaning,
The beginning of the revolution.
but it wasn't, was it?
Nah.
What happened after the disturbance at the temple?
Jesus had us all retreat to this house, and he was like, I'm gonna die soon, so let's just chill.
That must be very disappointing.
It was confusing. I mean, whacked out shit, man. 1 minute, Jesus is beating down infidels. I'm talking fists and whips. Jesus is whooping ass, knocking out teeth, saying he's gonna tear down the temple. The next minute, he's all passive. We were like, we invested 3 years in this guy, and now he's just gonna lay down. Didn't seem to make no sense.
Simon, why do you think Judas Iscariot turned Jesus into the authorities?
Personally, I think Judas was trying to throw Jesus into the deep end of the pool.
Judas was testing Jesus.
Not testing, because we all knew Jesus had mad skills to pass the test.
What then?
Listen, I knew Judas pretty good. We were pretty tight on account of our politics and whatnot. What I believe is this. Judas knew that if the Romans grabbed up Jesus, that Jesus would have to act.
Act meaning?
Meaning act. Get it on and start kicking ass like he was supposed to. Emancipation was our birthright. That's what the Messiah was there for. I think, personally, that Judas was trying to help Jesus by showing him his destiny and fulfilling his mission.
Judas tried to help Jesus.
I think so, yes.
Thank you, Simon.
So, Simon the Zealot. Judas was a helper, eh?
Yeah,
Just there to lend the helping hand?
yeah.
Yes, yes, I think you are correct. A zealous one. Because if it was for me and my friend were to sell me out and betray me for a roll of quarters to be beaten, whipped, strangled, and gouged, and then strung up to be baked by the hot Judean sun till I resembled a shriveled up, bearded Frankfurter, why yes, my very first thought as I gasped for air and bled to death would be, why, that Judas, what a helpful guy. I must remember to send him the thank you note. Simon the Zealot, let's talk turkey. Judas was a friend, yes?
Yeah.
You guys thought the same way, yes?
Yeah.
Had the same opinions.
Yeah.
Wanted the same things.
Yeah.
Wanted them desperately.
Yes.
Then why, Zealot, did you not do as Judas did? If you believed what you believed and thought what you thought, why did you not join Judas or turn in Jesus on your own? Can you explain me this?
I don't know.
Protecting a friend, I see. Admirable. Admirable indeed. Yes, zealous one, answer me this. When Jesus never said that his mission as Messiah on earth was to overthrow the Romans, did he?
Nah, he never did.
Right, but you wanted it to be the mission. You even thought it was the mission, but it wasn't really the mission, was it?
I guess not.
Then how come, zealous one, you came to understand this, but Judas never came to understand that?
Couldn't say.
Huh. Well, answer me this, woman of zeal. What was your inner life like before you met Jesus?
It was consumed with anger. He saved my life.
Huh. Final question, woman of zeal. Do you believe, as the Bible says, that God made man in his own image?
I do.
Yes, absolutely you do. And there lies the answer to one of my previous questions. The difference I pose it between you and Judas Iscariot is that you accepted that you were made in God's image, whereas Judas, on the other hand, Judas wanted to make God in his own image. God as an earthly avenger. And even though, Zealot, you were scared, even though you were confused and angry and hurt, you still chose to obey God, correct?
I guess so.
Yes. Yes, you guess so. There's something beautiful about you, Simon the Zealot, and that is your modesty. You are a God-fearing woman. Go now. Be free.
Simon, Jesus never proclaimed himself to be God, correct?
Nah, he never did.
What did Jesus say to Judas at the Last Supper? He said, do what you gotta do. Sounds like Jesus approved, maybe. But if you were Judas, Simon, and doing what you had to do ended up getting you hung from an olive branch and sent to hell to live in infamy and perpetuity, wouldn't you maybe have kind of wished that Jesus had said something else?
I certainly would have, counselor.
Wouldn't it make you feel like you kind of got fucked?
Objection, Your Honor! Language! A foul mouth is a dirty bird.
I would have felt like you said, though.
Next witness.
Yes. With your magisterial permission, prosecution now calls Satan to the stand, Prince of Darkness.
Name?
Fabiana Aziza Cunningham, right?
Lou?
I've been keeping the light on for you, Cunningham.
Come on now, Lou. Have a seat and let's get started here, all right?
You never change, Frank, do you?
I suppose I don't.
That's what I like about you. Say, how's Wilhelmina and the kids doing, huh?
Wouldn't know. Now park your caboose in this chassis, all right?
Yeah, all right, all right. My apologies, Frank.
Bailiff?
Sorry, I was helping the elderly, sir.
Fire away. Proceed.
Yeah. Yes. How are you today, Satan?
Well, long night, but no regrets.
Out late? Decadent and debauched?
Oh, God, does it show?
Oh, no, not at all.
I'll tell you. I could barely make it through my double session Pilates this morning. If it weren't for good genes, I'd be a raisin with tits.
Yes. You look great, though, Satan, really. I mean, sincerely, you have an excellent physique.
Thank you. So do you.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I make exercises. Anyway, no horns and tail today, I see, Satan.
No.
You left him at the dry cleaners, I suppose?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. I must say, claimer of the dam, your candor is quite refreshing.
As is yours.
Oh, thank you, thank you. That jacket, Satan, really is smart.
You like it?
Beautiful, really. Is it Armani?
Gucci.
Gucci. Yes, very elegant. And the trousers, too, are they Gucci?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, they have a lovely sheen. Yeah. Anyway, shall we get started?
I am at your service.
I appreciate that.
And I appreciate your appreciation.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. So, tell me, Dark One, did you ever have any conversations with Judas Iscariot prior to his selling out of Jesus of Christ?
No, I did not.
No, you did. Are you sure about that?
Quite sure, yes.
Never entered into him, as I believe St. Luke's gospel puts it?
Ask my maid sweet Sheila. If I'd entered Judas Iscariot, he would have felt my considerable presence, if you know what I mean.
Yes, you and Jimmy Woods. I've heard the rumors. Yeah. So, I mean, it would be fair to say that the devil didn't make him do it, though, right?
Of course. Unless there's some devil running around that I don't know about.
You are very funny. Very charming, Satan. But, just to be clear, Satan, you did nothing, Satan, nothing to sway Judas Iscariot into selling out Jesus of Nazareth, Prince of Peace.
Correct.
Yes. How about after the deadly deed was done? Did you have any conversations with him then?
I spoke to him, yeah.
Care to share?
Not a problem. When I encountered Judas Iscariot, I encountered him at the Bathsheba Bar and Grill shortly after the night in question. I was actually in town for a guy named Abdul Mazi Hatton, but he never showed. When I encountered Judas Iscariot, it appeared he had already taken full advantage of the happy hour. Hello there, friend. How are you this evening?
How am I this evening? What are you, a fucking maitre d', man?
I'm Clementine. Clementine of Cappadocia.
Yeah? Well, why don't you go home and fuck your mother, Cappadocia?
It's Cappadocia.
What?
It's Cappadocia.
Let me ask you something. Cappadocia? Do I look like someone who gives a flying fuck right now about where the fuck you're from?
I'm sorry.
Sorry don't mean shit, dick. Take all the sorries in the fucking world, pile them one on top of another. You know what you got, Cappadouche? You got a big pile of fucking nothing is what you got.
You're
okay?
right. You're right.
You want to do something about it?
No, sir.
and go fuck your mother and leave me the fuck alone.
I will. Thanks for the advice.
Where are you going?
Yeah, you seem like you preferred to be alone.
Why would I prefer that? What are you saying? I look like some kind of lone wolf? Like a fucking piranha, bro?
Do you mean pariah?
I mean what I mean. What do you need, a light or something?
Yeah, please.
Here. Like this lighter?
It's nice.
Got it today, man. Expensive shit, but I got it like that.
You seem like a man of wealth and substance. I admire that.
Wealth and substance. Don't push it. So, what's your name, man?
Clementine. Clementine of Cappadocia.
Clementine, eh? Isn't that a girl's name?
Not in Cappadocia.
Well, it is here, bro. You sure you ain't a girl?
Pretty sure, yeah.
I'm Judas. Judas Iscariot. Maybe you've heard of me?
No, man, I'm from out of town.
You've never heard of me?
Nope.
You don't get around much, do you, Clem? So whereabouts you from, man? Egypt?
Cappadocia.
Yeah, but that's in Egypt, though, right?
No, Cappadocia is in Cappadocia.
I dig your pyramids, bro. And the Sphinx? Hey, bartender, some more of that Mesopotamian wine for my Nubian friend. And some dates and figs, too. Hey, you smoke opium, Clem?
Clem?
And some of that opium, bartender. The good stuff.
You seem like a man on a mission.
Took this girl to a puppet show today, man.
Yeah, how was it?
Fucking sucked. That sort of bullshit, you know?
In Cappadocia, we burn puppets.
Yeah. People got the right idea over there. That Pharaoh is a smart man. Yeah, man. Hey, Clement, cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, hey, man. This is a nice shirt. What'd you pay for it?
2 pieces of silver.
2 pieces of silver. I'll give you 5. Here you go. Come on, switch shirts.
Oh, but I'm rather fond of this shirt.
Come on, man. Switch shirts. Switch shirts. I'll let you be my wingman. I can get you laid, bro.
Nice brunette.
2 brunettes and a eunuch. Come on.
Oh, okay. He was so drunk he couldn't smell my unmistakably satanic stench.
Oh, man. This is nice. What is this, silk?
From Cappadocia.
Fucking Cappadocian silk. All right.
Your shirt is nice, too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Hey. Thanks, man. It's really nice. It's been a while since I've been something like this. It's really nice, bro. Hey, if I told you something corny, would you think that I was like a dick?
Not at all.
Okay. I'm kind of mildly afraid of going to hell.
Why's that?
Little incident last night. Miscalculation on my part.
Well, from what I can tell you about hell as an eternal destination, it's apparently vastly underrated.
Yeah?
And hell is nothing more than the absence of God, which, if you're looking for a good time, is not the worst thing in the world. You want to play the lute, sing Mary Chapin Carpenter, that's what heaven's for. You want to rock? Apparently hell's the venue.
Are there, like, girls down there?
Not many, but I hear they import from developing nations over the weekends. But hey, I wouldn't worry about you into hell, buddy.
Even if I might have done something, like, mildly controversial?
God understands.
Yeah, but don't choices have, like, consequences?
Come on, you really think we have a choice?
Well, don't we?
Okay. You passed by that fucking disgusting fucking leper on your way in here tonight?
Who, Freddy?
Freddy, yeah. You think Freddy had a choice, huh? Stinking it up out there, can't scratch his balls for fear or pull out one of his testes, huh? What about that old, what's-his-name guy from the olden days? Job, huh? You think if Job had a choice, he'd have been like, okay, God, enough's enough, I get the fucking point.
Yeah, but he did say that.
Yes, he did, Judas. And then what happened? God kept right on fucking with them until Job did the only thing necessary, which was to keep his wrinkly ass cheeks spread wider than the Red Sea, till God got tired of drilling him for oil.
I guess. But say that you...
What?
Never mind.
Oh, come on.
Not important. Alright. What if someone were to betray, for example, the Messiah?
You mean the Messiah, the Messiah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone had the choice to betray him or not to betray him, and he chose to betray him.
Gee, I really couldn't say. What do you think?
Well, I'd say the guy's fucked, right?
I really couldn't say.
Come on, Clem.
Well, since you asked.
Because this is just some hypo-theoretical
Right,
guy
of
here.
course, of course. If this clown were dumb enough to betray the Messiah, then I'd say, well, it would have been better for that man if he had never been born.
Never been born?
Hey, man, you asked.
That's a fucking heavy trip. That is a heavy trip, Clems.
I'm thirsty. How about you?
That is heavy, bro.
Bartender, 2 barrels of wine and a hooker menu. You okay, man?
Dude, I just realized I haven't been laid in 3 years, bro. Can you believe that? A guy like me?
3 years.
I wasted my prime, bro. And then I wasted my prime after my prime.
Well, I think you'll probably get fucked tonight, bro.
You think so?
Pretty sure, yeah.
I need another fucking drink. Tonight, I'm gonna drink this fucking bar.
Judas, maybe you can answer this for me, but who's this Jesus of Nazareth guy I've been hearing so much about?
Jesus of Nazareth.
Yeah, I heard he's some kind of somebody.
Some kind of somebody.
That's what I heard.
Oh, fuck that guy, man. He's a bitch.
Fuck that guy! He's a bitch!
Your Honor. Cross. Luke, stick around.
I know the drill.
Meal break. 15 minutes.
Hey, Fabiana, you free for lunch?
Jesus. I was present at the crucifixion, and I was the first person he appeared to after the resurrection.
Damn, that bitch got clout.
I was one of the founders of the Christian faith, and I was known for my ability in times of difficulty to be able to turn the hearts of the apostles towards the good.
Good, yes.
Some people think that I was a whore.
Misogynist bitches.
Other people think that Jesus was my husband.
Feminatic bitches.
I am not a whore.
Pimp some hoes down.
I was an unmarried woman in a town of ill repute. And also I was not the wife of Jesus either.
They still love you, sugar.
But I do think that Jesus was my best friend. We shared an intimacy that I cannot put into words except to say that we saw into each other's hearts and were in love with what we found. I also knew Judas Iscariot very well.
Gangster.
Of the 12, he was the most moody and the most impetuous, and yet he was my favorite.
Tupac.
And in some ways, I think that he was Jesus's favorite too. I mean, Judas was sort of an alter ego to Jesus. He was the shadow to Jesus's light. He was the sour to the sweet, the cool to the warm. They often walked together, more often than not arguing. I mean, nobody could get a rise out of Jesus like Judas could. And Jesus would emerge from an argument with Judas positively furious, shaking his head wildly, snorting his teeth, clicking, you know, all of these things. But inevitably, he would end up staring into space and sighing, smiling. I think that If someone were to say that Judas was good for Jesus, that they would not be mistaken.
Not mistaken.
When I think of Judas, my heart breaks.
But Mary Mags, if we're all eternal and human life is only the first step in a billion, do you really think God could abandon any motherfucker so soon in the journey?
I don't know. Jesus never talks about it. That's how I know his heart hurts worse than mine.
Next witness.
Defense calls Sigmund Freud to the stand.
Name? Dr. Sigmund Shlomo Freud.
Dr. Freud, you are an expert in the field of modern psychiatry.
I am. Most certainly. Fraulein, I am modern psychiatrist.
Objection, Your Honor. The witness is boasting.
Overruled.
But boasting, I mean, really, Your Honor, it is distasteful.
Sit down, El-Fayoumy.
Listen, I lunge to obey you, but let the record reflect that the prosecution has grave reservations about this man's so-called standing as a psychiatric expert.
Perhaps a quick jaunt to London for a leisurely perusal of the complete psychological works of Sigmund Freud, volumes 1 through 24, would set your mind at ease.
Oh, yes, perhaps it would if you were indeed... Oh, yes, yeah, right. So, you go.
Dr. Freud, you are in fact the founder of psychoanalysis, correct?
I am.
You maintained a private practice in neuropathology for nearly half a century. Is that not so?
It is.
You were on the cover of Time magazine in an issue dedicated to the greatest scientific minds of the 20th century.
I was.
Dr. Freud, are you familiar with the case history of one Judas Iscariot?
Most certainly.
Dr. Freud, in your expert opinion, can suicide victims be pre-certified as psychotic?
Without question. Man's instinct for self-preservation is his most supple and reflexive muscle. When that muscle fails, his mind has failed. A decision to take one's own life can only be precipitated by a failure of the mind. Intelligence and everything.
Dr. Freud, in your expert opinion, was Judas Iscariot a psychotic?
Without question.
And are psychotics responsible for their actions?
No, they are not. Say I have a bad bout of influenza. I sneeze rudely due to my influenza, but involuntarily in your face. You wake up the next morning with the same flu. Did I cause your flu? No. My flu caused your flu. I only sneezed because I was sick.
Dr. Freud, in your opinion, does Judas Iscariot belong in hell?
No, he does not.
Explain.
Suicide is a direct sign of mental illness.
But did he become mentally ill after allegedly betraying Jesus of Nazareth, or was he mentally ill to begin with?
Pre-programmed, yes. You must understand, normal people do not kill themselves, even under extreme duress.
And what would you say to those who would say that Judas brought about his own mental illness by betraying Jesus of Nazareth and getting him crucified?
I would say this. Number one, you cannot conjure or bring about mental illness. Number two, any god who punishes the mentally ill is not worth worshipping. And number three, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. The person who could have prevented this tragedy was Jesus, not Judas. He chose not to.
But isn't Judas responsible for his actions because he did what he did of his own free will?
Fraulein, I once had a suicidal patient leap through a 4th floor window to her death. She exercised her free will. Did I bill her estate for the broken plate glass window she left through? Of course not. My friend Winston Churchill, who provided me safe haven from the Nazis in 1938, would say this. The price of greatness is responsibility. And I believe firmly in taking responsibility for my greatness. So, I moved my office to the ground floor. I should think God would have done the same.
Your witness.
Herr Doctor. Yes. Sorry for the mix-up earlier. I must say, I am intimidated to be in the midst of such greatness. Yeah, I mean, after all, you are a genius, correct?
Correct.
An expert.
Yes.
A big brain.
Unequivocally.
Unequivocally. Yes, such a nice word, and it rolls off your tongue so well, Doctor. Really, I am impressed. A little tired, are we, Doctor? Perhaps a kilo or two of our fine Bolivian flake might restore your pep, Doctor.
Excuse me?
Cocaine, Doctor. Blow, flake, rock. She don't lie, do she, Doc? After a 12-year span, you consume cocaine in what can only be categorized as prodigiously massive quantities. Correct, Doctor?
I was trying to determine its medical value.
Yes, yes. You call that research?
It's part of my research, yes?
Yes, yes, and after this so-called research, you finally came to the conclusion that ingesting staggering amounts of powder up your nose was perhaps unhealthy.
As part of my research, yes, correct.
Is that a real nose, Doctor?
Your mother denied you her breast, didn't she?
I will thank you to let me ask the questions here. Dr. Freud. Freud. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I had a U-slip, didn't I? Anyway, Doctor. Huh. I'm actually done here.
Do sane people commit suicide, yes or no?
No, though they are sometimes tempted to murder.
Oh, go murder an 8-ball egghead.
That's enough! That's enough! Next witness.
Yeah. Your Holiness, Caiaphas or not Caiaphas, Your Holiness, Judge Littlefield, I will now call to the stand legendary performer and American singer, Tony Bennett to the stand.
What?
Tony Bennett's not dead.
Oh, well, in that case, that's great, huh? In that case, let's, I guess I will call Caiaphas the Elder, High Priest of the Sanhedrin, to the stand.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I think it only fair at this juncture to let you know that at this time I must step down before this next witness comes out. Before his ascension into the lap of the Lord, Caiaphas the Elder and I were business partners in a successful chain of kosher pizza parlors in the East Purgatory. For that reason, I must step down at this time. Bailiff, get your ass up there, put on those glasses, and adjudicate pronto! Proceed.
Hey, Fabiana, can I borrow a pen?
Only if I can shove it through your eye.
Oh. Fabiana, how can I prove my sincerity to you? I mean, even though you are always here, and I am always here, still, I think of you even when you're not always here, even though you are always here.
Next witness, please.
I lunge to obey you, Your Grace. We'll discuss later. So, Julius Z. Bailiff. I can call you Julius?
All right.
How about Jules?
I guess.
So, tell me, Jay, shall we commence?
That'd be good.
Wise, Jay. Prosecution calls Caiaphas the Elder to the stand. Caiaphas the Elder, High Priest of the Sanhedrin. Hello to you.
Hello.
Or, shalom, as it were, huh?
Shalom.
Yes, yes. Perhaps you can clear this up for me, Caiaphas. Is there a Caiaphas the Younger?
No.
And yet, you are the elder.
Yes.
Yes, I see. Thank you, my cousin. Amgad Waba owes me $5 now. Anyway, Doc, the Bible says that Judas Iscariot made an approach to you. It was a dark and nefarious approach to offer up the location of Jesus of Nazareth and to, in fact, turn him into you and the authorities, correct?
Correct.
And are you saying, Caiaphas the Elder, that it was Judas Iscariot that approached you?
It was?
Yes. I saw in a film once where it was you that approached him.
It was Judas Iscariot who approached me at the temple, not the other way around.
Yes, yes, and even though that statement is backed up by all 4 Gospels, Caiaphas the elder, I must ask you, did you approach Judas Iscariot in betraying his Lord and Messiah, Jesus Christ?
No.
Why not? Jesus was a big headache to you, no? I mean, you were legitimately concerned that the hijinks of Jesus would lead to an uprising and in a resulting Roman massacre of your Jewish people in retribution, correct?
I was.
So why not reach out and touch someone, Caiaphas?
Are you asking me why I didn't try to approach one of the apostles initially?
Yes.
I didn't think it would work.
Why not?
There's an old rabbinical saying, let them kill you, but do not cross the line. And during my 18-year reign as head of Sanhedrin and guardian of the temple, I encountered countless messiahs, zealots, and false messiahs. My dealings in these matters taught me. They get killed, yes, but as a rule, they do not cross the line.
Yes, cross the line, and this means what?
To betray your ideals, your conscience, the law.
Yes, and Judas Iscariot crossed the line, didn't he? He betrayed the ideals in betraying Jesus, the rabbinical ideal.
He did.
Do you admire that?
I do not, no.
Why not? I mean, we all cross the line sometimes, don't we? I mean, what's the big deal?
We were all capable of crossing the line. Thankfully, we do not all do it.
Yeah, but if we cross the line, we can just draw ourselves a new one, correct?
No.
Why not?
Because the line comes from God, doesn't it? The line is given. We do not create it. Therefore, it is not ours to modify or change. It is only ours to obey or betray.
Yes, yes, I see. Caiaphas the elder, when Pontius Pilate first arrived in Judea, he approached you in the temple, correct?
He did.
And he, as a show of his force and might, he attempted to place Roman symbols in your temple, which was to your people a great desecration of your holy place of worship, correct?
Correct.
It would have constituted a worshiping of false idols, right?
Yep.
And what did you do when Pontius Pilate attempted this?
I told him that he must remove the pagan symbols.
And what did Pilate say to that?
I believe the gist of his reply was, what are you going to do about it, Curly?
Huh. And what did you do about it?
I knelt before him.
And groveled for forgiveness?
No.
Begged for mercy?
No. I removed my headdress, I bared my throat to him and bid him slit it.
In other words, Caiaphas, you let him kill you, but you did not cross the line, correct?
I guess so, yes.
Yes, you did not cross the line. Huh. What was what was the result of your standoff with Pontius Pilate?
Pilate backed off.
He didn't try to put up the pagan symbols, did he?
No.
No, your integrity castrated him. His little Roman purple balls rolling down the temple hill like some withered purple grapes, right?
I have no response to that.
Yeah. Well, you shouldn't. Caiaphas the elder, last question. The virtue, the most prized virtue in Western culture is loyalty. But in Eastern culture, which would include Judea at the time, the most prized virtue was and is honesty. Would you agree with this hypothesis?
Counselor, there are 613 sacred laws in our Torah. Complying with these laws requires loyalty and honesty, but the most important requirement to the law is obedience to it. That is what is most prized.
Yes, yes, but would you say that Judas Iscariot was loyal?
Obviously not.
Would you say that he was honest?
No.
Well, how about obedient?
To his own wills and desires, I believe he was.
And for those wills and desires, he crossed the line, correct?
He served a necessary purpose, but as a fellow Jew, I confess, he disgusted me.
Yes, Caiaphas the elder, I thank you for your testimony, and might I say, you are way more handsome than the way they portray you on the silver screen. Nothing further.
High priest of the Sanhedrin. That was an extremely powerful and prestigious position in Judea, was it not?
It was.
In fact, except for the Roman governor and King Herod, it was in fact the most powerful position in Judea, correct?
Correct.
Would you mind looking me in the eye when you respond to a question?
My position was very important. As high priest, I maintained the sacred laws, the safety of the populace, and our tradition.
Caiaphas, is there a reason you won't meet my gaze? Or is ignoring women simply another component of the tradition you were charged to maintain?
Objection, Julius. The witness is not just a holy man, but a very holy man. And the defense counsel is aware that she is a juicy, pulchritudinous dish. But yet, the witness is still being berated for merely avoiding her salacious temptations and feverently aromatic flesh. I move to censure, really.
I withdraw the question.
Sexy vixen, you are warned.
Hey!
Oh, Julius, I'm sorry, she makes my organs bounce. Sorry, you go ahead.
Caiaphas, you stated to the prosecution that Judas Iscariot crossed the line and that he disgusted you, correct?
Correct?
Well, then maybe you can help me out here, because I'm a little confused. Judas Iscariot handed Jesus of Nazareth over to you, correct?
Yes.
And then you handed Jesus of Nazareth over to Pontius Pilate.
I did.
So then what exactly is the difference between you and Judas Iscariot? Because unless I'm missing something here, I fail to see it.
Between me and Judas, big difference.
Caiaphas, you were a rabbi and a Jew. Jesus was a rabbi and a Jew. Was it not considered crossing the line for one rabbi to hand another rabbi over to be killed by pagans?
Jesus was a seditious and blaspheming rabbi, and I did not know for certain that he would be killed.
But what was the penalty for sedition?
Crucifixion, but that was the Roman charge, not mine.
That's right. Your charge was blasphemy. And what is the penalty for blasphemy, Caiaphas?
Your Honor, I will not sit here and be blamed for the death of Christ yet again.
No one's blaming you for the death of Christ, Caiaphas. I'm simply asking you a question which I am directing you to answer now before this court. You charged Jesus with blasphemy. What was the penalty for blasphemy?
Stoning followed by hanging.
So then how can you sit here and say that you didn't know for sure that Jesus of Nazareth would be killed?
Because Jesus could have easily saved himself.
Saved himself how?
By retracting his blasphemous claims. Our Torah has 613 sacred laws. I can't even count how many Jesus broke or treated with wanton disregard and disdain. He broke the laws that came from the gods of Isaac, Abraham, and Jacob. He violated the word of God. He violated the word of Moses. He consorted with the women and the unclean and prostitutes. He proclaimed himself Messiah. He performed miracles on the Sabbath. He forgave sin. Who was he to forgive sin? Only God can do that. If that's not crossing the line, I don't know what is.
Jesus was fulfilling your Old Testament prophecies of Isaiah to the letter.
He was also fulfilling the prophecy of Deuteronomy, which warned against false messiahs and marvel workers. Now, it would have been one thing if Jesus had confined himself to the forests and rivers, spouting his ravings as the Baptists did. But in our great temple, I would have been derelict to not put a stop to it. He was kicking people, whipping them, calling it a den of thieves, threatening to destroy the place. Now, if someone did that in your St. Patrick's Cathedral, would you not arrest them?
And yet, Judas Iscariot, who came forward in the face of this great threat, is, in your eyes, not a patriot, but a traitor. A traitor who, in your words, disgusted you. Why is that, Caiaphas?
Because he handed Jesus over for money.
And why did you hand Jesus over, Caiaphas?
The words and deeds of Jesus Christ were leading to rebellion. And the price of rebellion under Roman rule was a bloodbath, a massacre, counselor. So I determined it was better to have one man dead than 1,000. That's why.
So you were looking out for the common Jewish man.
I was.
Were you a common Jewish man, Caiaphas?
In the eyes of God, we are all the same.
But how about in the eyes of the common Jewish man? You were seen as an aristocrat, weren't you?
I came from wealth.
Would you say you were popular with the common Jewish man?
My job was a sacred one, not a popularity contest.
Would you say that the high temple taxes you inflicted on your people made you more or less popular with the common Jewish man?
Objection, Your Honor. The witness is badgering.
Sustained.
And the purification pools outside the temple, where the common Jewish man was required by law to be cleansed before being permitted to enter the temple. The purification pools were not free either, were they?
The laws were the laws and the rates were the rates.
Did you have a sliding scale for the poor?
No.
So the poor, who constituted a large percentage of the common Jewish man at that time, remained impure and unclean and were denied the right of worship.
You've made your point.
No, I don't think I have. Your position, Caiaphas, did not require you to be popular with the common Jewish man.
My position required me to answer to God.
Did God appoint you high priest of the Sanhedrin?
It was with God's blessing.
It was with Rome's blessing, Caiaphas. And at the end of the day, for the 18 years you served, that's who you had to answer to, and that's who you had to be popular with. And the day that you showed Rome that you couldn't handle your own people was the day you'd have been thrown out on your ass. Isn't that true?
I belong to God, not to Rome. My job was to uphold the 613 sacred laws and to protect my temple and my people, and that's what I did.
And was not Jesus of Nazareth one of your people? Whether he was a prophet or a Messiah or a holy man or a crazy man, was he not one of your own? And was it not considered the height of treachery to betray Jewish blood to your oppressors? Come on, Caiaphas, tell us that it did not prick your conscience to turn Jesus of Nazareth over to the Romans. Tell us that at the end of the day, in the eyes of God, there was a difference between what you did and what Judas Iscariot did. This is purgatory, Caiaphas. I got all day.
In terms of result, no difference.
How about in terms of follow-through? Judas recanted. He tried to return the silver, didn't he?
He did.
And did you, Caiaphas, do anything at all to try and prevent the death of Jesus?
No.
And therein lies the real difference between you and Judas Iscariot. And yet you sit here and say how he crossed the line and disgusted you. And if that's the case, Caiaphas, then I sure wonder how you must have felt about yourself.
That's between me and God.
Well then, for your sake, Caiaphas, I sure hope your God has a more forward-thinking attitude than Judas's God does. Step down, you're excused.
Caiaphas the elder, Judas Iscariot approached you, correct?
Correct.
And yet, he didn't have to, though.
No.
But he did.
Yes.
On his own free will.
Yes.
And accepted payment for his betrayal.
He did.
Payment. Yes, Caiaphas the elder, he did not say, hey, Caiaphas the elder, you put your money away, mister. This one's on the arm. Correct?
Correct.
Yes, Caiaphas the elder, I think that we all see the precarious situation you were in trying to protect your people from Roman reprisal.
And it makes you feel good to say that, right? After 2,000 years of persecution and vilification, you finally get around to saying, hey, we know it wasn't you and your people. Is that right?
But Caiaphas the elder, I was only
Win your
trying
case,
to.
right? Tell you what. You people call, I come. You question, I answer. But please, never say that you realize the position I was in because you had no clue the position I was in. And never try to excuse or forgive me because I'm not interested in your forgiveness. God's forgiveness? This interests me. Yours? I could care less. Why? Because you have no clue. The people who need forgiven, the people who persecuted and pushed the lies and exaggeration that became sacrosanct fact and led to hatred and violence for the past 2,000 years, the people who wrote the gospel, those are the people that need forgiven. And not by you, but by me. By me and my people. It is the writers of the gospel who need forgiven. Not me. No, sir. I know what it is to suffer. Do you? Don't think so. Julius, my best of friend.
You are very handsome, Caiaphas.
If I am, it's because God made me so, not because you said so. Good day.
My name is Thomas. At the Last Supper, I was the first one to say that I would die for Jesus. And I was also the first one to head for the hills during 90 when the Romans came and arrested him. And then, when Jesus said that he resurrected himself, I was also the guy who said, I wouldn't believe he was who he said he was unless I could see with my own eyes the holes in his hands and personally inspect them and touch them as if I were some qualified medical examiner, like I was Quincy or something. But the thing was, Jesus showed them to me. And not only that, he let me touch them. In a ministry based entirely on the virtues of faith, he gave me proof. I had no faith, and he gave it to me for free. I don't know why I got the benefit of my doubt and Judas didn't get help with his. And I'm not saying this because I liked the guy, because personally, I thought he was a bit of a jerk-off. Actually, fucking dick would be more accurate. Judas was the kind of guy, at least with me, where one minute he's your friend and the next minute he's making fun of you in front of everyone. He used to like to say that the reason Jesus had to do the miracle of the loaves and the fishes was because I ate all the food when no one was looking. Stuff like that. And then other times he could be real nice. Like once we were partnered together to go into town and help heal people and cast out demons, and, well, I had some problems that day. Everyone I tried to help heal ended up getting worse. In fact, there was one lady who I almost blinded, and another guy started going into convulsions. But Judas fixed it. He healed them. He really did. And that tells me his faith was genuine. And later, when we got back to camp that night, he didn't tell anybody how I messed up. In fact, he said that I did a good job. And I appreciated that. I knew Jesus knew it was bullshit, but I appreciated the gesture. The thing was, Judas was a bit of a dick, but he wasn't shallow or petty. He really was pretty large. I mean, he wasn't the best, but he was far from the worst. And Jesus liked him a lot, in fact. I mean, he was right up there in the top 3 with Mary Magdalene and Peter, who, by the way, could also be a dick sometimes, too. The thing with Peter was never talk about fish. The guy was crazy about fish. Say something wrong about fish and forget about it. The guy would go crazy. Anyways, some people say that Judas did what he did because he was greedy. Personally, I think that's bullshit. The guy wasn't wandering around the desert for 3 years with Jesus and a bunch of ragamuffins like us because he was looking to get rich. Other people say that the devil got into him. Again, bullshit. Judas was loyal to a fault, obsessively loyal even. He would have taken on the devil and his entire army, 1 against 1,000 if he had to, and he would have done it with relish. Some people say that Judas did it because he knew the ship was sinking and he was trying to find himself a nut to fall back on. Listen, Judas was not a fallback guy. He was 100% fall forward, and to me, that deserves some consideration. I was not fall forward, not by a long shot, and neither were most of the others. Judas was a bit of a dick, but he deserved better. Just one saint's opinion.
Next witness.
Your Honor, at this time, defense would like to introduce ancient surveillance footage from an event that occurred less than 24 hours after Jesus' arrest. Exhibit A14. Lights, please.
Pilate is gonna
When
kick
Pilate
your
sees
ass.
this
He's
motherfucker's
ass
ass,
sheep.
Hey, what's all this damn ruckus about?
All hail Pontius Pilate.
Is there a problem here?
Judas is trying to recant.
Hold up a minute, who?
Judas Iscariot from the
stinky
Jesus of Nazareth
right
crew.
here.
Jesus is innocent. Please, please.
Should we start whooping his ass now?
He's innocent. Please. Jesus is innocent.
Hey, come on now, Judas. Hey, them sand says, hold up a second. Yo, Kurt, what they call themselves?
Sandhairn, sir.
Right. Them sandhead sons paid you 30 pieces of silver. Now that's 4 months' wages. That ain't no chicken feed.
I made a mistake, man. You don't understand.
Oh, I understand
Please.
perfectly. You sold out your brother. Now you feel guilty. So you trying to come up in here talking about, hey, it was dark. I kissed the wrong motherfucker. But we Romans, man. Romans don't dance that song.
But he's innocent. Please. Please.
Hey, listen, Judas. We don't give no good goddamn about that Jesus. He just a motherfucker talk a lot of shit. I mean, everybody talk shit. Even I've been known to talk a little shit on it once in a while. Thing is we not trying to lay down no heavy charge on the Nazareth boy. We just gonna beat down his ass a little, make them Sanhemian callers happy, so we all can live in peace. I mean, don't you want to live in peace, Judas? Ain't that what it's all about? Yeah. Okay then. I mean, after all, brother, it's not like we looking to crucify the motherfucker.
Defense calls Pontius Pilate to the stand.
I object.
On what grounds?
On the grounds that this is objectionable.
Overruled.
But, Your Honor, like it really is objectionable.
Overruled! Name?
Pontius Pilate.
Pontius Pilate.
That's right, baby.
But are you a licensed pilot?
Sit down, El-Fayoumy!
Judas Iscariot came to your tent to recant his testimony, correct?
On the advice of counsel, I cite my right to plead the Fifth Amendment.
You then told Judas Iscariot that Jesus was only going to receive a beatdown, correct?
On the advice of counsel, I cite my right to plead the Fifth Amendment.
You bear responsibility for the death of Jesus Christ, not Judas Iscariot, but you. Do you deny that?
On the advice of counsel, blah, blah, blah. Your Honor, I got 2 p.m. tea time. Can I go?
This won't take long, Pontius.
Judas recanted. He tried to return the silver, first to the Sanhedrin and then to you. Do you deny that?
Hey, if I messed up as bad as that cat had, I would have tried to rebate them ducats too.
So you admit that Judas did try?
No, I did not admit that he tried. Did you hear me admit that?
Pilate, we all know what happened. We just saw the tape.
Ain't nothing on that so-called tape implicates me of anything but trying to find a peacefully, non-lethal solution to a potentially incendiary problem.
Right. You were the 5th prefect of Judea, correct?
Correct.
The prefect being what?
Governor, also known as procreator. My official title was Hegemon.
Hegemon.
Translated from the Greek, it means excellency.
And you governed or procurated over Jerusalem from 26 to 36 AD, correct?
Longest 10 years of my life.
Why do you say that?
You ever been to Judea, Missy? It ain't Paris, France, believe that.
I see.
Yeah, that Moses must have read the map backwards, misplaced his bifocals or something, because if that was the promised land, shit, them Jews should have held out for a better promise.
You didn't care for Judea much?
Care for it. Armpit of the empire, if you ask me. No atmosphere, nothing. Just hot, dirty, dusty, flies everywhere. I mean, complete lack of culture and amusement. I'd rather spend 10 years up inside the crack of my ass. But Augustus told me to keep the peace there, so I obeyed my emperor and did my duty.
And kept the peace.
The Pax Romana, baby. Prime detective, that's right.
And how was the peace kept during your reign?
By any means necessary.
Violently?
Violently or otherwise. Look, they was free to get it any way they wanted.
According to Philo of Alexandria, who wrote about you in 41 CE, your tenure as governor of Rome was known for its constantly repeated executions without trial, wanton injustices, graft, and ceaseless and grievous cruelty. Care to comment?
No, I do not.
During your tenure in Judea, how many crucifixions would you say you ordered?
A lot. Don't apologize for them neither. Them Jews was rowdy.
Rowdy?
Yeah, rowdy, as in not docile, as in the motherfucker had to put his foot down.
And you put it down, didn't you?
Damn Skippy, I did. Orders from Rome. And what's a brother to do?
But how many crucifixions would you say you ordered?
A lot less than my predecessor, that's for damn sure. That motherfucker would crucify a Semite for yelling fire at a barbecue. I mean, the man would go buck wild from the jump. Me, I reduced crucifixions in Palestine by 70%, and that is documented.
Well, that's lovely, Mr. Pilate, but I'll ask you now to answer the question posed to you.
Which was what?
How many crucifixions did you order?
A few hundred, give or take, so what?
Over 700 crucifixions during your tenure in Judea. Does that sound about right?
Sounds good to me, sure.
And out of those 700 crucifixions, you publicly washed your hands in how many of them?
I don't know what you mean by that.
I mean, other than Jesus of Nazareth, did you ever, in any other circumstance, try to publicly wash your hands and abdicate responsibility for your actions?
I don't recall.
You backpedaled because you knew it was wrong.
Romans don't have back pedals.
You knew that Jesus was a holy man or a fool, but whatever he was, you believed him when he said his kingdom wasn't on earth, didn't you?
I don't recall having that conversation.
You don't recall that conversation. You know what? Why don't you say that again so I can slap a perjury charge on you? You ordered the death of Christ, you and you alone, and then you palmed it off on Jesus' reticence and Judas's impetuousness and the politics of the Sanhedrin and the rowdiness of the Jewish people. Is that not true?
You can go on squawking all you want. My conscience is clean. What you need to do is take it up with them Jews.
Were the high priests authorized to issue a death sentence?
No, they were not.
Was King Herod authorized to issue a death sentence?
No, he was not.
What about the Jewish people? Were they allowed to go around issuing death sentences if their whim and fancy? One man, Pilate. In all of Judea, one man had the power to put another man to death. Who was that man, Mr. Pilate?
Am I on trial here? Because last time I checked, it was your client, Judas Iscariot, freezing his narrow ass off in the 9th circle of hell. Not me.
My client recanted with a remorseful heart and was ignored.
Then you need to take that up with them Jews. I mean, this ain't some new theory I'm introducing to you. It's documented. Ain't no Sherlock Holmes, Nancy Drew mystery here, lady. Them Jews was cantankerous, ornery. They worshipped the angry, jealous, and vengeful God, and guess what? Surprise, surprise, they was angry, jealous, and vengeful themselves. I mean, ain't no problem I had in Judea wasn't caused by some rabble-rousing, no-account Jew. Believe me, sister, what you need to do is talk to them, not me.
It's always the Jews, isn't it, Mr. Pilate?
Well, the sure as shit is in Judea, missy.
You want to know what I think, Mr. Pilate? I think this whole story about you hemming and hawing about what to do with Jesus is a load of made-up crap written by the Jewish evangelist Christians trying to broaden the appeal of the Jesus story to the Roman Empire. I think you hated the Jews. You hated them. You hated them because they contested you. You hated them because they fought back. You hated them because they clung to their religious beliefs and were willing to die for them. But most of all, Mr. Pilate, you hated them because you knew they were stronger than you. I think that bothered you a great deal. I think it made you feel small and inadequate. I think it gave you nervous tics and skin irritations. I think it kept you up at night dreaming of when you could return to the safe bourgeois comfort of Rome. You didn't wash your hands, Pilate. History did it for you.
I think I've had enough here.
If you were a man, Pilate, you'd own up to the truth.
The truth? Whose truth are you talking about, Red? The truth is, I was made a saint in the Ethiopian church. The truth is, I was named a Christian martyr in the Christian church in 348 AD. That's the damn truth.
A Christian martyr?
Did I stutter, girl?
Well, I guess that's what they mean about history being a lie agreed to.
A lie? What you know about what's a lie and what's the truth? What you know about my history? All you got is some book written 4 different ways by 4 different Jews wasn't there in the first place. And what you know about my life after Palestine? What you know about what I might have did or didn't do when I got back home to the motherland? That's right, you don't know Jack D. They didn't write that part of the story down, did they? Should I tell you something? You and your presumptuous nature reminds me more and more of my ex-wife Rhonda every minute. And believe me, that ain't no compliment. Yeah, I met the Jesus boy. He seemed like a fine fellow. He dressed like a hobo and smelled like a goat, but get a boy a shave in the shower, and he would have basically been all right. I'll tell you something else, too. Unlike that Judas, that Nazarene boy had character. He didn't come up on me begging and groveling, crying like a bitch. He faced me like a man, like a Roman almost, and that impressed me. I was willing to just have him be clubbed in the head for a couple hours, redirect his youthful energy. But them Jews, they wasn't having none of that. You can say what you want to and think what you want to, but them Jews was fixing to pitch a fit until that boy was served up for lunch like chicken in a skillet. And they had the numbers on us that weekend, too. 200 strong converging on the city for their high holidays and ready to rumble at the drop. I did what I had to do to preserve the damn peace. Why? Because that was my damn job. I did my job. And now you want to call me a liar? Question my veracity and my character? I'm a Roman, lady. 100% 24/7. We never close. Underneath my ball sack is stamped Veritas. And that means truth. And that means my honor is defined by my integrity, and my integrity is defined by my truth. And I defy you here and now to produce one shred of evidence to support your wild and defamatory claims. Shit. You better check the resume 2 times before you try to sweep your dirt under a Roman's rug. I'm clean like a dove and ready for love, Missy. I live in heaven. Where you stay at, girlfriend? Shit. I tell you what, though. You get your hair straightened out, give me a call if you want to. I take you down to the aqueduct for a pizza and a tussle. Show you my tattoos. Any more questions?
I think, Mr. Pilate, you've told us all we need to know.
Okay now, boo. I'm gonna roll on out, work on my short game.
Your excuse.
Caesar, baby.
Your Excellency, Hegemon, one more question if I may. Okay. So, will you tell the court, if you will, please, great Sir Hegemon, if indeed Judas Iscariot did come to your tent to allegedly recant, and I'm not saying that he did or didn't, and by the way, the only gospel that says anything at all about Judas's so-called recant is Matthew, and that's 3-1, and the one in question is not just a Greek, but a drunken Greek, and a card cheat. But anyway, good Sir Hegi, will you please tell the court, if you will please, when Judas Iscariot came to your tent to allegedly recant, and again, I am not seeking confirmation of herewith, however, will you tell the court, if you will please, sir, and this is very, very important, sir, did you get the sense or the impression that Judas Iscariot was you know, recanting out of a mere remorse for Jesus Christ, or out of a neck-saving fear for the consequences of betraying Jesus Christ, Son of Man?
I'm a man, and defensive counsel may dispute this, but I'm a man who happens to know a little something about remorse, personal and otherwise. In my day, I stared into the eyes of perhaps 10,000 accused men and sat in judgment of them. I spared a few and executed plenty. I sent folks to the whip, the gallows, the cell, and the cross. I sent a few home, too. Remorse is rare, but when you see it, it's unmistakable. Judas Iscariot had no remorses. Fear left no room for it. His fear was 100% self-serving and ego-driven. 100% panic. 0% remorse. If you don't believe nothing, believe that.
Yes, yes indeed. Thank you, great sir. Thank you indeed.
Next witness.
Defense reconjure Satan to the stand.
You can come back in now, Lou. Bailiff, go get it. Go fetch Satan.
Alone?
Go. Lou, have a seat.
I'd like to file a formal fucking complaint, Frank.
Now, this ain't about the turkey roll in the cafeteria again now, is it, Lou?
No, this isn't about the turkey roll in the cafeteria, Frank. What this is about, Frank, is I recognized a couple of your court officers at the vending machines. Ask me how I recognized them, Frank. No, don't you Lou me, you little fag. God's been fucking stealing souls again, hasn't he?
El-Fayoumy, escort the jury out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, come on, right this way. Come on.
Through this door here. And you, Honeywell. You're on my list, hayseed, so don't expect any last-second reprieves. Shorts, tank tops, stretch, pack light.
This is unacceptable behavior, Lou.
Don't tell me what's unacceptable. Those court officers were mine, Frank. Their souls in hell safe and secure. What? I don't got enough to contend with? Now I gotta worry about God roaming the barnyards of hell, finding condemned souls like some silver-tailed fox thief in the fucking night? This is bullshit, Frank, and you know it. And I'm not getting out of here until I receive my satisfaction. So you better do something about it right fucking now!
Do something like what?
Number one, I'm not doing any more of these circle jerks anymore, okay? I'm not some wind-up doll to be summoned and dismissed like a fucking toy. Number two, I want 2 souls before I leave here today. So take a memo and pass it on upstairs. I'll take you and whoever else.
Me?
Yeah, you. Should have claimed you off the dung heap after Lee's surrender. And I want some Darvin and a tall bourbon. Neat. The fuck are you looking at?
I'd like to start my questioning.
Why, you got somewhere you got a bee dish rag?
No. When you're done crying, just let me know.
I'm sorry. And maybe you can clear this up for me. But is today talk to someone who can pull your heart out through your dried up miserable cunt day? Is that what day this is? Because unless I'm mistaken, I'm pretty sure today's not that day.
No, today is the day for you to answer my questions. When you're through behaving like a petulant child.
Cunningham! I'm suggesting you hit the off switch on them flapping gums of yours until further notice. And as for you, Lou, with all due respect to your stature and station, could you cut me a break here, please?
Frank, I've always been good to you.
And I to you. Is that not so? Now, I need to call the damn jury back in here, okay? Your complaint has been duly noted and will be kicked upstairs at the conclusion of today's proceedings. But what I need to know from the both of you is that when I move to do so, you two will conduct yourself in a deportment and adjustment to the solemnity of these proceedings. Now, do I have your word on that?
I'm ready to proceed, Your Honor.
With civility?
If I'm met with civility.
You know what, Cunningham? All those excuses you got wedged between that dubious cleavage of yours, the bulimia, your mother, the herpes, the booze, the abortions, the rape, the bipolar pharmaceutical adventures, twin suicide attempts, abject failure in every relationship you've ever attempted, all that does nothing to band-aid the fact that there comes a time when the world stops rewarding potential. And when that time came for you, you threw yourself the world's biggest pity party and dedicated the rest of your short, pathetic, inconsequential life to finding fault everywhere fucking else except your own cosmetically altered gaze. Okay?
Say, perhaps you are out of bounds here.
El-Fayoumy, on a good day, your cock measures 3.5 inches erect and goes up on a hair trigger if you so much as sneeze. Worse than that, you're a flatterer. And your love of God is utterly false, as is your hair color. And the only reason you're attracted to this dumpster fire over here is because you're addicted to tragedy and punishment. Not because you think you're a piece of shit, but because, El-Fayoumy, the truth is, your self-diagnosis is correct. You're a bag of a hot air and a weakling, and you will never, ever be loved. You'll never be loved either, Cunningham, but that's because you're incapable of giving it. But you knew that about yourself already, didn't you? You can call the jury back in, Frank. Never let it be said the Prince of Lies stood in the way of truth.
No more outbursts.
I'm Buddha floating on a lily pad.
El-Fayoumy.
Yes, sir. Come on. Take a seat over there. Do not dilly-dally.
Proceed.
Mr. Seybert.
I apologize for my earlier outburst, Counselor. I had some bad fish at lunch.
Mr. Satan, you had a long-standing feud with God, correct?
No, I love God.
You love God?
Of course I do. God made me.
God made you.
God did make me. It says so in the Bible.
I know about the Bible, Mr. Satan. It also says in the Bible in Matthew, I believe. In Matthew it says, a good tree cannot bear bad fruit. Is that correct?
Correct.
So are you saying that you are good, or are you saying that God is bad?
I would never say that God is bad.
So then are you telling this court that you are good?
I don't know. Are you good, Counselor?
That's not what I asked you.
I'm sorry.
Just answer the question.
I don't believe in good or bad. What I believe in is truth.
Fine. According to Job and Nehemiah, God created you in the first 3 days. True.
True.
You were an angel.
True.
You were present when God created earth.
True.
Then God created man and gave him, not you, dominion over the earth. True?
True.
You were in fact ordered by God to serve man. True?
True.
According to Genesis and Ezekiel, you then tempted Eve to eat the apple in order to prove to God that he had made an error in giving man dominion over the earth, at which point, according to Luke, you then fell from heaven like lightning and became God's adversary. And ever since that day, you have competed for souls with God in order to try and prove the point that man is not worthy to rule over the earth. Isn't that true, Mr. Satan?
I don't compete with God. God competes with himself.
That's not what I asked you.
I'm trying to answer your question.
No, you are not.
Your Honor, I am trying to form a response.
Let him answer, Cunningham.
Thank you. Look, I didn't make you people. God did, okay? But there was a design flaw in the creation. He gave you all free will. And to balance that out, he gave you the ability to self-correct. But unlike the free will muscle, the self-correct muscle isn't a real favorite of the Homo sapiens. I'd say self-correct falls somewhere between colonoscopy and firing squad on most people's holiday wish lists. At any rate, the point is this. I don't have to actively compete for human souls. I don't have to lull or tempt or flatter or deceive. Because of you people running around wreaking havoc, I'll be honest, I spend most of my free time watching one-hour dramas on HBO.
And what, getting kicked out of heaven, that didn't bother you at all?
There's a concept, Cunningham, called playing the cards you are dealt. One can either accept this concept, or one can slowly lose one's mind, heart, and soul. I'd like to be more helpful for you here today, but really, that's all it comes down to.
Is that so?
I'm just a fallen angel trying to keep my dick hard in a monotheistic society. What more do you want from me?
Your Honor, this witness is clearly lying. I move his entire testimony be struck from the record.
I'll not allow that. Sorry. You conjured him, you're responsible for what comes out of his mouth.
But he's clearly lying.
You ought to open up your consciousness, counselor.
Your Honor.
Unless you have another question, Cunningham, I suggest you step down.
But, Your Honor.
Forward or back, you've been instructed, counselor. Now what'll it be?
Mr. Satan, why do you love God?
What's not to love?
Specifically, Mr. Satan, what specifically do you love about God?
I don't know where to begin.
Pick a spot.
I love God because He is all-powerful and all-knowing. I love God because His justice is perfect. I love God because God loves me.
God loves you.
Very much so. Gift basket at Christmas, Hallmark cards on all the major holidays.
Stop it. If God loves you, why did He throw you out of His kingdom?
He didn't throw me out, I left.
That's not what it says in the Bible.
Yeah, you're right, they fudged that part. But that's because you people only respond to fear and threat. You think if people knew that the gates of heaven were up, there was no lock on the gates of heaven, people would be running around wreaking havoc. There wouldn't be any incentive to be even halfway decent.
In other words, God lied.
God didn't write the Bible. You do know that, right?
Of course I know that.
Then why would you say God lied?
Mr. Satan, does God love Judas Iscariot, yes or no?
God loves everybody.
And yet my client is allowed to languish in damnation.
Your client is allowed to leave whenever he wishes.
That's
in
not
fact, I
true.
wish he would. I could use a space.
That's not true, and you know it.
Look, maybe you should sit down and catch your breath.
The truth is, Mr. Satan, that God's love is conditional. Isn't that true? You failed to meet God's conditions, and He threw you in the trash. My client failed, and he's in a catatonic stupor.
Your client succumbed to despair.
Yes. And if human despair is so powerful as to render God powerless to it, then what does that say about God, Mr. Satan? It says one of two things. Either God's not all-powerful, and therefore useless, or God's love is conditional, which renders that love false and unworthy. Which one is it?
Cunningham, don't take this personally, but your father never really loved you or cared about you, right? And the only reason your mother didn't get an abortion is because she was afraid of the scarring. I think she told you that.
Mr. Satan!
Just because your parents resented you, Cunningham, doesn't mean that God does.
I asked you a direct question, and I am demanding from you a direct answer.
And the direct answer is you're completely wrong.
Is God powerless or spiteful? Which one is it?
You're powerless and spiteful, Cunningham.
Your
not
Honor,
God.
he's not answering.
What do you want me to do?
But he's not answering.
I suggest you step down, Cunningham.
Your Honor.
What, Cunningham?
But, Your Honor!
What, Cunningham?
Open your heart to God, Cunningham.
Shut up! Your Honor, I'm not finished.
Then finish.
You're a fucking liar.
I'm truly sorry you feel that way.
Nothing further.
Cross?
No?
You're excused.
Thank you, Frank. Counselors, you availed yourselves today as expected. El-Fayoumy, you're completely wrong too, by the way. I'll be in touch.
Next witness.
Right now, I am in Fallujah. I am in Darfur. I'm on 63rd and Park having lunch with Ellen Birkin and Ron Perlman. I'm on the corner of Alistair and Lafayette waiting to hit you up for change so I can get high. I'm walking through the Rose Garden with George Bush. I'm helping Donald Rumsfeld get a good night's sleep. I was on that plane with Muhammad Atta, and in that cave with Osama. And what I want you to know is that your work has barely begun. And what I want you to trust is the efficacy of divine love if practiced consciously. And what I want you to believe is that if you hate who I love, then you do not know me at all. And make no mistake, who I love is every last one. I am every last one. People always ask of me, where are you? Where are you? Verily, I ask of you to ask yourselves, where are you? Where are you? Judas. Judas.
Who's there?
Is it ever anybody else, Judas? I miss you.
Uh-huh.
I miss you.
Don't fucking touch me.
Judas.
I said take your fucking hands off me. Take them off.
I'm sorry.
Just back off my grill, man. Back off.
I'm sorry.
Back off more.
I'm sorry. Judas, if 1,000 strangers spit on me and kick me as they pass, I will smile. But if a brother of my heart gives me so much as a passing hard look, then I will not sleep that night, nor sleep at all, until he will let me love him again.
No!
No what?
No more fucking fortune cookies, that's what. You want to say something? I can't stop you. You want to apologize? Fine, apologize and go. Just, for once, speak like a normal fucking person.
I'm not a normal person, and I'm not here to apologize. I am who I am, not who you demand me to be. I will always be who I am, and what I am. And when have you ever heard me deliver my message any differently, Judas? When?
Just go away.
I'm not going away.
Oh, that'd be the first.
I never went away. Judas, look at me. I love you, Judas. And all I want, is to be not just near you, but with you.
Should have thought of that before.
Before what?
Just get the fuck out of here, okay?
Judas.
Don't fucking Judas me. You're not wanted here, okay? Mr. fucking above it all?
I'm not above it all. I'm right here in it. Don't you see that?
And don't you see that I don't fucking care?
You think your suffering is a one-way street? It's not. It's the exact opposite of not.
You've got a lot of fucking nerve.
And you've got no nerve at all. Where's your heart in all this, Judas? You think you were with me for any other reason than that? It was your heart. You were all heart. You were my heart. Don't you know that?
I'll tell you what I know. I watched you trip over your own dusty feet to save the sick, the blind, the lame, the unclean, any two-bit stranger stub their fucking toe. When some lowly, distant relative, too cheap to buy enough wine for his own fucking wedding, suddenly runs out of booze, no problem. You just presto changeo. It was fucking Miller time in old Canaan, wasn't it, bro? But when I fucking needed you, where the fuck were you, huh?
Judas.
You forgave Peter. You bullshit Thomas. You knocked Paul of Tarsus off a horse. You raised Lazarus from the fucking dead. But me, your heart? You just, I made a mistake. And if that was wrong, then you should have told me. If a broken heart wasn't sufficient reason to hang, you should have told me that too.
Don't you think that if I knew it would have changed your mind, that I would have?
All I know is that you broke me unfixable. Now I'm here. You want to know when you delivered your message different? At the temple. That's when. You were beautiful there. You left there 3 inches taller. And we all saw it. I loved you. That's all I did. That's a fact. And now I'm here.
Judas. Judas, what if I were to tell you that you're not here? That you're with me, in my kingdom, even now. And that you have been since the morning of my ascension. And that you've never left.
That's what I think of you.
I love you, Judas.
Just stop!
Don't you see me here?
I see a lot of things.
You see a lot of things?
That's right.
What about him? Do you see him? Call on to him? Touch him? You can't, because he does not exist. Rather, they must conjure him. And even then, he is but a vapor, blown away by a hummingbird's breath. He is false. He is a lie. He is not real. Go on. Touch him.
I don't want to touch him.
Stand up, Judas.
You know I can't do that.
No. What I know is that you can.
Get the fuck over yourself.
Will you feed my lambs, Judas? Will you take care of my little sheep? Will you feed my lambs?
Feed your lambs?
You know exactly what I'm asking you.
Go away!
Judas. Judas, if you don't love me, you're going to have to look me in my eyes and say it.
I don't love you.
Judas.
Go!
If you don't love me, then why am I still here?
Go!
Judas. Judas, do you know what would happen the very instant you got down on your knees?
Why on my knees? They should have buried me standing up. I've been on my knees my whole life. You left me.
I'm right here.
I would have never thought that you could leave me.
I never left you.
You didn't love me.
I do love you.
Why? Didn't you make me good enough so that you could have loved me?
Please, take my hands, Judas. Please.
Where are they?
They're right here.
I can't see them.
They're right here.
Where are you going?
I'm right here.
Don't leave
I'm
me!
Here.
I can't hurt.
Please stay with me, Judas.
I can't.
Please,
I can't
we love you,
hurt.
Judas.
I can't.
Please, I can't stay.
Mr. Iscariot? I don't know if you can hear me, but I'd like to introduce myself, if I could. My name's Butch Honeywell. I was foreman of the jury for your trial there, and well, we found you guilty. I'm real sorry about that. Brought you a 12-pack of beer. Actually, I guess it's a 4-pack now. Anyways, it's good stuff. I don't know if you like beer, but I'll just leave it here for you. So I think I'm dead, Mr. Iscariot, and I'm real concerned about that because I don't think my soul's ready for judgment yet, and nobody so far has corroborated on the fact that I'm dead, so I just don't bring it up. But the fact is, if this is a dream, it is the longest goddamn dream I've ever endured, and I just really miss my wife. Is it okay if I tell you that? I remember. I was with these two girls the night I first seen my wife. Susie Heller and Della Mae Robbins. We were at a party at Jimmy Rayburn's house. Jimmy's mom worked till midnight, so he had the house to himself. And I was with these two girls, you know, just smoking cigarettes, talking on Jimmy's porch, away from the party. I was depressed over something or other, probably because school was ending. Plus, I'd just been in the school play. I played Tom in the Glass Menagerie. It was the first time I had ever acted, but everyone said I was real good. But yeah, so anyways, now that school is over, and the play was over, plus they had given me a real short haircut, like 1940s short for the play. And I don't know if you can tell, Mr. Iscariot, but my ears, they stick out a little. So with the short haircut and all, I was feeling a little self-conscious and dumb and not too cheery. Anyways, a little bit later, I look into the house, and this girl, she was just standing there in a bright red jacket. It was a cheerleading jacket from the school across the state line, the Red Raiders. And I remember, all I could see was blonde hair, a bright red jacket, and this smile that, even from a distance, was just kind of electrifying to the heart, you know? Anyways, about a minute later, the sliding door to the deck opens, and in walks this girl, all by herself, straight towards us. Turns out she's friends with Della from back in the day. Girl Scouts or brownies or something like that. And I remember, she was so beautiful that I remember thinking, and this is word for word exactly what I thought. I ain't even gonna bother talking to this girl. So I just excused myself, headed inside to the party, fixing to say my goodbyes and skedaddle, when Jimmy hands me a beer, and they start passing around a bottle of Rebel Yell and, you know, bong rips and whatnot. A little bit later, I'm just sitting on the couch by myself, and this girl, my future wife, she just walks up to me and says, "I saw you in that play the other night. You made me cry." 2 days later, we're out on a date, and I'm taking her home. I'm driving, and we passed my friend David Hoff's house. He had died. I hadn't been by the house since he had passed away. The family didn't live there anymore. But when I saw the house, I got struck with this feeling, you know? And I asked her if she wouldn't mind if we just stopped by the house and sat for a while. She said sure, so we pulled up and parked and just sat. Quiet. Nobody saying nothing. And then, before I knew it, I started tearing up. Because this friend, he was a real good guy, you know? And then I just started bawling. And I couldn't turn it off, and I couldn't help myself, and I was real embarrassed. And she just held me while tears and snot were pouring out of me all over her little white sweater. She didn't mind about that. She didn't mind at all. Eventually, I took her home, and we got to her door. We started kissing, and God, I'll tell you, it was like peaches and dynamite. And then I went to apologize about the crying and whatnot, and she just looked at me and she said, "Don't be such a jackass, Butch Honeywell." And I just smiled. But then I went on to explain my meaning, which was, you know, if you want a girl to think you're sensitive or something, maybe taking her to your dead friend's house and crying all over her cute little sweater was a good way of doing that. She just looked at me with them all the way dazzling eyes of hers, and she said, "Well, if it's a trick, then I'm tricked." 3 years into our marriage, I took a job at the local state university. I was real popular with the students because I found a way of making them want to learn. One night at the end of the semester, they took me out for beers, and I ended up having an assignation with one of the co-eds, a young lady named Lucy. And I remember I got home that night, crawled into bed next to my wife, drunk as a skunk. She was still asleep. And I remember I was just looking at her. I always liked to look at her while she was sleeping because she always looked so good. I had a nickname for her. I used to call her my little baby dinosaur because that's how she looked when she slept. Like a brontosaurus or something, but cute. The next morning I wake up, and all of a sudden I remembered what I had done the night before. And I had no idea why I'd done what I had done, but I had done it, and I couldn't take it back. And my wife was still asleep, and gosh, she just looked the same as always. She wasn't my little baby dinosaur anymore, you know? And when she woke up, she didn't know nothing about nothing, and everything was just the same. My baby girl, she made blueberry French toast with maple pecan syrup that morning, and I couldn't eat it. No way I could have eaten it. Nothing was ever quite the same after that, you know? And I tried to fix it. But the only thing that fixed it was more beer and more women. Do you know who W.H. Auden was, Mr. Iscariot? W.H. Auden was a poet who wrote, "God may reduce you to tears of shame on Judgment Day by reciting by heart the poems you would have written had your life been good." She was my poem, Mr. Iscariot. Her and the kids, but mostly her. You cashed in silver, Mr. Iscariot, but me, I threw away gold. That's a fact. That's a natural fact.